Welcome back to the Rural Roundup, brought to you in association with the Scottish Government. Later on, Mary-Jane will be talking to Gilmour Lawrie about AgriScot, which is just around the corner. However, before that, Mary-Jane, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, George. How are you?
I'm fine. Definitely a change in the weather, that's fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And some welcome rain for us in the east. I'm sure a lot of farmers are quite happy with the cooler, wetter weather we've been having.
It's a bit strange weather as well because, well, once again, I was out silage sampling yesterday in the shirt sleeves. Couldn't believe it, how warm it was. And then today, very cold, very very grey, and you just think rain's not that far away. So it's definitely autumnal.
Yeah, and it's quite nice to have a change in the seasons. It's always a nice time for getting things tidied up, ready for winter. And I suppose this time of year for farmers, getting ready for housing livestock again. Harvest's all done, generally speaking, for everyone. And certainly in the east, crops have gone into the ground in good order, and we're thankful for the rain now. So I think a lot of people are gearing up for getting livestock in. Will be the next big job around the corner.
I think that's what we noticed up here, that there was a lot of crops went in the ground in September. Quite a few crops. They seem to come through the ground because of the warm soil and such like, but they just seem to stick just because of the lack of moisture. And now this is getting things going. But I was through some crops yesterday morning, and unfortunately, the crops are starting to grow, but so are the weeds. So weed
Yes.
control's maybe just not quite as good as it would have liked to have been.
Yeah, I think similar stories across the Lothians. A lot of weedy looking crops, but the moisture hopefully getting everything else going, and hopefully soon able to outcompete those weeds if people are managing to get the sprays on. But we're recording this just the week after Storm Amy, which at the weekend will have battered much of the sort of northern part of Scotland, and we had it a little bit in the Lothians, not as bad as others up north, but it's brought quite a few windy days, so lack of spraying days as well has been an issue for folk. But the forecast for next week and this current week is looking not as bad, so hopefully people will get on with any sort of sprays that they've got lined up for weed control and things.
There's Storm Amy definitely left its mark up in the northeast, and decimated a lot of events and such like at the weekend. We probably didn't get the rainfall that was expected, but yeah, we most definitely got the wind. We were well warned about it, and most folk are every year we seem to be getting more and more wind events, and people know now to batten down the hatches, really, just be prepared.
Yeah, that's it. Even in the summer, we had that big random storm that seemed to come in. I can't remember, was it July or August, when we had some serious wind. And I think it's just, you're right, being prepared for these sort of more extreme weather events, and knowing what to do to prepare. As shutting barn doors and that sort of thing. We had to put the grain store door down, make sure that the grain in store wasn't going to get wet. With wind blowing the rain in, and at this time of year, you don't typically expect that, not yet anyway. So it's just keeping an eye on the forecast and making sure that you are prepared for more extremes. But we certainly got off lightly in the Lothians compared to you guys up north, I think.
Yeah. Well, we've said the weather's getting colder. The nights are definitely drawing in. It's the time of year when farmers start going to more meetings. The Farm Advisory Service has a series of meetings coming off. One of them looks at farm finance. There will be a range of meetings here covering a multitude of topics, and these will be all around the country. So with one or two sectors having more challenging years, these could most definitely be worth going to. Another series of meetings coming up is the Soil Nutrient Management series. These will also include IPM this year, which is also part of the whole farm plan. Fertilizer prices are rising, and so it may be a good opportunity to go along. I think these are the format of workshops, so there's an opportunity to go through some examples and work out, perhaps using your soil analysis that you did for your PSF, and see if you can actually make savings on your farm. One of the biggest meetings over the winter certainly in the south of Scotland, is AgriScot, and Mary-Jane has been catching up with chairperson Gilmour Lawrie.
Hi Gilmour, thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about AgriScot today.
Yeah, it's lovely to be here. Thanks very much for inviting me along.
So can we start off by, can you tell us what AgriScot is?
Well, it's probably the best UK farming event, I would say, of all in the calendar. It's to do with, it's mostly a business event, pretty much focused on dairy cattle, and also all the latest technology we have within the industry is out there for everybody to see. It's a one-day show, and it's with very well supported with 235 standholders, business standholders, and it's just a great day out for everybody.
And it's coming up soon. What date is it this year?
This year it's Wednesday the 19th of November, and the doors open at 9 in the morning, and it's an all-day show, finishes at 4:30 in the afternoon. So a one-day show.
It's at Ingliston, isn't it? The Royal Highland Showground. So lots of people will be familiar with that location from attending the Highland Show and other events that they've got on. But I guess one of the big differences is it's free to attend, isn't it?
It's free, and the parking's free as well, which we try. That's one of the things that myself and the directors are trying to maintain, that we have a free show for the general public and the farming community. We find that's important. It works for everybody. Everybody likes a free event, as you know, and everybody just loves coming along and attending it, and that's why we try and keep it that way.
And we'll get into a bit more about what AgriScot is like now, but how did it start? Do you know what, you mentioned it's got sort of a dairy heritage to it, hasn't it?
Well, it started a long, long while ago. It didn't actually start. The Winter Fair, it used to be the Scottish Agricultural Winter Fair. And that was involving the fat stock classes and the sheep as well at that time. And then it moved on to AgriScot, just a time of foot and mouth, and it moved on to AgriScot in 1992. It's when AgriScot originally started, and it was preliminary a dairy show. And then we came into AgriScot at February 2001 when Foot and Mouth reared its ugly head, and there was no event that year, and we started that's when AgriScot started, and it's been going from strength to strength since then. So it's been on the go. This is its 25th year since it's originally started, so it's quite a milestone.
Yeah, fantastic. And it sounds like it's evolved a little bit over the years, but what's it like now? What sort of things can you expect to find at the show now?
You probably find anything you would love to see. There's cows. The best dairy cattle in the whole of Britain usually come to the show to compete at the highest levels. I mean, all the champions from all over England come up and try and compete for the Super Cow prize, the prestigious prize that we have every year, £1,000 for the super cow, and the super heifer gets the same. And a lot of people love to exhibit in all breeds. It comes to the end of the day, then there's only one super cow, and that's what they can walk away with, is the £1,000 prize money, which everybody loves to compete. And I think it's actually just the prestige of winning such an award. I've been very lucky to have won the super cow and super heifer, and I can tell you that to do that accolade is amazing, because the feeling you get when you're on the strap of the cow, walking around the ring and actually having achieved that is probably second to none in any show. And the atmosphere in that show ring is absolutely electric, and just everybody's dream to do that. But unfortunately, only so many people can do it, and it's, as I say, it's a great accolade if you do.
And other than sort of the dairy classes, are there other competitions that are going on throughout the day?
There's competitions start early in the morning there's a silage competitions for all the farmers to enter. There's different categories. There's a young farmers silage event for the best silage under 26 for any young farmer can enter. There's big bale silage, there's clamp silage, there's maize silage, there's any kind of silage, and it's judged this year capably by David Lawrie and James Bailey are going to judge it this year, and that's done before the judging even starts in the main ring. And then this year we've introduced some young stock classes. This is the first time ever we've had young stock at the show. It's usually just milking cows that we have at the show. Okay. But we've introduced the young stock because, like every other show in the whole of Britain, the younger generation are coming into their own, and they love to show their calves and love to show these animals. And we always feel that if you get the youngsters interested, you'll have them when they're a wee bit older. and we're really quite chuffed with the entries we have so far. This year we're sitting between 70 and 80 at the moment, and
Wow.
usually if we get to 100 by the time the show comes round, we're really chuffed, and I think we're going to excel that this year.
And is there still time for people to enter? When do the dates close for that?
The date actually closes for cattle entries the 17th of October. Is usually when the date's finished, and we'll likely manage to sneak one in after that, I would imagine, if somebody comes along. But we'd love to try and get them in about that time if possible.
Yeah, it gives you time to get everything organised for the day and work out schedules and things, doesn't it? So
that's right.
And there's other sort of more business orientated competitions as well, isn't there?
There is the product innovation. This is when there's a couple of judges go around and look at the latest technology, and all the companies, or some of the companies, can enter into this. It should be a new product, and they're judged on how good it is and what the judges think is the best outcome for that product, and there's a prize for that. We also have a business skills prize for the younger generation. This is when the students actually come into their own as well. They start off, and there's actually heats for this event out in the country at the moment. We get them down to 3 finalists at the end of when it comes to AgriScot Day. They do a project on either a bit of machinery or a product, and they report back, and then it's the person with the best business idea gets to win the prize, and it's £1,000 prize money as well for the person who wins that. And it's usually it is always very well supported, and I believe this year we're actually oversubscribed with entrants, which is good. It just shows you that the younger generation are very keen in coming aboard as well. And we've had some superb winners in the past, and they always seem to do well within the industry after the event. They're going in onwards and upwards for them.
I think it's a big stage, isn't it? And it's an opportunity to push yourselves outside your comfort zone, especially for students that are maybe busy studying and whatever. But it's a chance to push themselves and get ready for employment by showcasing what they can do and thinking outside the box and using these skills that they've been learning as well.
They learn them along the way, and they're actually been mentored as well by Virgin Money. They send each individual has a mentor to help them along the way, and that's it really works very well, because it's quite funny. Last year I was speaking to the head man from Stephen Buchan from Scotland, the head of Virgin Money, and he's saying even his staff are getting a lot of mileage out at seeing which student gets the best mentoring, which really comes along really well. So there's a wee bit of rivalry within the bank as well, which is good. And
that's brilliant. Yeah,
we're really pleased that they're on board, because you get no ends of help from the Virgin Money guys. It's really good.
And am I right in saying a few years ago you used to have some of the competitions like Farmer of the Year and that sort of thing, and that's now been rolled into the sort of Scottish Farmer Awards, which is later this month as well, isn't it, in October?
Well, it's not actually Scottish Farmer Awards; it's the Scottish Agri Awards, is what they're called. And
okay.
We usually had the beef, dairy, sheep, and arable farms of the year, and we usually had presented the prizes at the AgriScot just at lunchtime, between the heifers in the morning and the cows in the afternoon. But I was instrumental back about 4 years ago, along with Sandy Wilkie and Ken Fletcher, of trying to make this a bigger event, and we came up with the idea that we could have an awards dinner, but it was just getting to try and get how we could start this awards dinner. So we thought we'd take on a couple of partners, and the Scottish Farmer was one of the partners that we came along with, and the Royal Highland Show, Raz stepped in as well to be the other partner. So in conjunction with these two partners, we host the big event, and it's actually the 25th of October, and it's in Doubletree Hilton in Glasgow. And at the moment, I think we've 600 people coming along to these awards, and it's actually a brilliant night. And this will be the third year, and it's just went from strength to strength. We've started about 400 people, and we're now at 600, and it's really good. And the people that win these awards are actually really over the moon, and they get some accolade when they do win these. And we've had a great support this year in all the categories. We've had good entries in all the categories, and we've had really good finalists as well, because I've been involved in a wee bit of the judging in that, and I can't really believe the quality that's coming out there, and it seems to get better every year. And we're delighted with what we're getting out of it as well. It's absolutely marvellous.
Well, I was at it last year because my boss won the Advisor of the Year, and what a fantastic night it was. It was just the hotel were fantastic. It was like a huge event, as you were saying. Food was incredible. It was all served very efficiently. The awards themselves were very efficient and very well done. And it was just a fantastic night to celebrate what's so great about Scottish agriculture. And I think it's important that we shout about what we're doing well in the industry and give people recognition for their hard work and innovation, especially for some of these farms that are, the arable farms, diversified farms, livestock farms, all doing new, innovative, exciting things. And I think it's just really a great way to showcase some of those brilliant people in our industry. I think it's great.
I think as an industry, farmers are probably the worst. They don't go and shout how good they are doing things, and we take the flack, but we don't actually shout about it. And I think it's important. Every one of these guys that's going to be at the finals are all winners in my eyes, and it's just great to see us getting a bit of recognition now. And I think the biggest problem with farmers is they don't put themselves forward enough, and they should shout about it, because actually probably Scottish farmers probably the best farmers in the world. There's some guys out there making some terrific jobs. So
yeah, not that we're biased.
Very passionate about the awards, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic, and bringing it to the sort of evening function just adds a bit more ceremony to it. I mean, it was great when it was AgriScot, but it adds a bit more, glitz and glamour to the evening to give everyone the opportunity to dress up and things. So,
Right.
So to go back to AgriScot, who runs the event? You're obviously chairman this year. How is the event run? How is it structured?
We're very lucky, and we have been for the last 25 years since AgriScot began, with the rural projects team of Martin Dare and John McInnes and his kind of staff help us along with the running. Martin does all the running of the show, from the booking the cattle in to the trade stands to more or less everything. I'm just the kind of guy that fronts up the show, and Martin does all the hard work. Martin and John, and we have 12 directors, and that's all we have.
Yeah.
And every one of the directors is responsible for their own part. So if it's not done, then it's easy enough to point the finger. You can't hide behind anything. We have if I'm going to be honest, we have a great team of guys and girls, and it's fantastic that everybody does their bit. There's no moaning, and it's absolutely brilliant. Great camaraderie within the group as well, which is very important, I think, when you're running an event.
And your job as chairman, or your role on the day, what will you be doing on the day?
Hopefully, just walking about and not doing too much, but no. And no, unfortunately, I'll have to be there in the morning. I'm actually chairing the NFU seminar. That's the first thing I'll do in the morning. Then I'll be there for when the super awards are given out in the main ring as well. And obviously at AgriScot we give out our plaques for the Farm of the Year awards. It's actually specifically belonging to AgriScot, the beef, dairy, sheep, arable farms. They all receive a farm sign. So that'll be done at dinner time as well. And I hope to get around as many stand holders as I can and make my presence felt just round the whole place, and hopefully not have any problems to solve. Hopefully everything will be done in nice, easy time, hopefully.
A day to enjoy. So we've sort of touched on the seminars there. So alongside the competitions, there are sort of seminars and talks throughout the day as well, isn't there? Is there a programme that we can see for that online?
There should be a programme online of the seminars. Yeah. There's 2 rooms of seminars going on all the time from the start. Obviously, I think the first one's 9 o'clock in the morning. That's starting with the NFU win last year with the First Minister, which created a good bit of atmosphere and a good bit of buzz. Yeah. And actually one seminar finishes and another one starts. So we have 2 different rooms going at the same time, which is good. So they range from all the topical issues there is within the year, i.e. there's a seminar on inheritance tax, all these kind of latest things that everybody likes to talk about. And there's obviously one in milk team as well. There's mostly something for every day, I would say, in the seminars.
Yeah. And then you've got all the trade stands, like ourselves, the Farm Advisor Service are going to be there. SAC will be there as well. So I'll be on that stand. But there's all sorts of trades stands there, from machinery, feed companies, advisory services, electrical services, land agents, all that sort of stuff as well, isn't there, Gilmour?
It's just amazing how many people actually are there. I did spend a bit of time last year getting around them, and obviously it's been a wee while since I've usually involved in the cattle showing side of the business, but I did spend a lot of time last year getting around, and I was pretty amazed about different stands, different criteria there is within the stands, and it's absolutely amazing because we've actually got 75 stands or 75 different people wanting stand space that we can't actually accommodate, which is really good. So
yeah.
It's a good waiting list to come in as well, which I always think's the sign of that somebody's doing something right along the way. And we don't honestly get many people that are there this year don't come back next year. If you get somebody that doesn't come back, it's mostly down to natural wastage, either retirements or business mergers or something along these kind of lines. But mostly everybody come back, and everybody's take on the day has been a one-day show. That's all they want. They want it that day. They do a lot of business that day, and they're really happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for businesses to be seen to be there, and it's amazing the number of clients and customers that'll be just walking around. It's a huge indoor space, but you pack a lot in in the space that you've got, and it's something for everyone, as you say.
Yep. We've also got a sheep demonstration this year again with Cammy Wilson, going to be doing a sheep demonstration the same as last year. He did a demonstration with the Depari handling systems. So he just kind of run some sheep through it and showed the people that was interested how everything worked, and that went down really well. And we're doing the same again this year in the same place as it was last year, up next to the car auctions. And we try every year to try something different, but it's not easy when we're obviously at maximum capacity, and to try and get something different every year it takes a wee bit of organising, if I'm going to be honest. But because everybody wants to do the same stuff, and
well, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the saying, isn't it? And you're drawing in a lot of people as it is. So I think it's great.
That's our kind of motto as well. We've been we like to change as much certainly in the main ring as we can, and we always try and have a beef demonstration at lunchtime as well. And this year it's beef from the dairy herd, which is quite apt, I would say, this year, because there's more beef coming into the industry through the dairy herd. And we're going to have Gavin Hill and his team again doing the demonstration, and hopefully that'll interest a lot of people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there anything else new for this year, or is it much the business as usual?
That's more or less pretty much the same as we had everything last year. With the obviously young stock classes this year, the business skills. We have the sheep demonstration, the beef demonstration. No, pretty much that'll be as much as going on as normally does. The usual stands, all well supported.
That's fantastic. And I think you've given us a really nice overview of the history of the show, what to expect there. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think all our listeners will be looking forward to coming as well. So if I see you, Gilmour, I'll come and introduce myself face to face. But it's been great hearing about the show. And thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed being your guest today. And it's an honour for me to be speaking to you guys. So hopefully if you do come to the show, make sure and speak to me, because I'll probably not see you at the end of the day. There's a lot of people I'll want a wee bit of where I'm going to be, but if you do, Absolutely. If you are there, please pop in.
Thanks, Gilmour.
Okay, thanks, Mary-Jane. Thanks, Gilmour. And now for some important reminders. We're when we're recording this, it's early October. I am mindful EFA catch crops over the last few years has become more and more common. I think it's probably worth saying that it's just a wee reminder to folk to remember to get them in before the 1st of November. Remember to stick them in the right field. It's amazing how some people forget which field they decided they were going to stick it in.
Yeah.
And of course, stick to the correct mixes, from the prescribed list. And it's just a wee reminder there. It's a good option. It does a lot of good if you get it in good time. But again, don't forget about it.
Yeah. And hopefully this year has been quite a good year for folk getting them in early, because harvest was generally earlier for people. But I suppose getting it established might have been an issue with the lack of moisture for some folk. So hopefully it is coming away for those that have managed to sow it already. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about EFA, one thing it doesn't really seem to be far away from us, certainly in the east. EFA is changing at the end of the year. We now go into the period of enhanced greening from the 1st of January 2026. I know on the FAS website there's a number of new videos and resources to help people navigate through the changes. But, I suppose as consultants, our advice would always be plan ahead.
Absolutely. And I think for folk that haven't had to do greening before, or not as much greening before, it's important to just read through all that and just to remind them, ecological focus areas we're talking about here, EFA, there is a lot of jargon, lots of different titles for things. So reading through the guidance properly and just making sure you understand what the various options are, getting confused between green covers, catch crops, fallow areas, just making sure that you understand what all the various options are that you've selected, because they are weighted differently as well. So it's important to make sure you've got the right amount of the right one to meet your greening requirements. And I think if anyone's struggling with that, there's the FAS helpline to phone up and ask if there's something in general, or if it's a specific query relating to your own farm, perhaps you've got an agricultural advisor that can give you more detailed advice if needed.
Yeah, I think that's an important message there, that even somebody that's in the way of having EFA, chances are you might have to do something different. In fact, you probably will have to do something differently next year. And it's amazing the amount of people who haven't had EFA in the past are going to be pulled in.
Yeah.
And it might be a bit of a shock to some folk. But, again, as advisors, we don't want the shock to come in the middle of May, really.
No.
Again, it's just planning plenty of time. And some of the EFA options will work for you and will actually be an opportunity.
That's right. They've introduced some new ones like the low input grassland, which will help out a lot of people that have got, a mixed grazing system, where they might have some fields that are more intensive and others that are less productive, and they naturally wouldn't be putting fertilizer on all of them. So there's options for everyone. And I think the new options just give a little bit more flexibility. I understand it's frustrating for everyone to, have to familiarize themselves with new rules and things, but it is quite clear on the website what all the rules are. But as I say, and as you just said, George, there's plenty of folk able to help you. Now, if you find out, that you're not quite sure about something, there's always someone to ask.
Yeah, most definitely. We're still waiting to hear about FFIS. Again, I think the best thing to say is keep watching that inbox. I think there has been some categories been getting some sort of queries to be resolved.
Yeah, I understand that people that are maybe in the young farmer category might have been asked for additional supporting evidence. Certainly none of my clients have been asked for that so far, but it may be that you haven't provided everything that's needed. In the past, some of the young farmers, new entrants might have claimed the young farmers top up on basic payment, for example. So maybe the department already have your information. Maybe they don't need to come back to you on that, and others, maybe they do. We're not quite sure of who is being contacted and why, but yeah, you're right. Keep an eye on your inbox, because they are working their way through some data checks at the moment, we understand, before the final scoring is announced.
Something else that has been a popular scheme over the past 2-3 years, perhaps, PSF, Preparing for Sustainable Farming. This runs per calendar year. We're now in October, so it is just a wee reminder. If you're looking to get soil sampling and you're wanting to claim that soil sampling back, the clock is ticking.
Absolutely. I think the worst case scenario is, phoning up to get your soil samples done at the end of November, thinking I've still got a month, and then finding that the company that's going to do the soil sampling has no spaces left. And obviously with Christmas and things, December is not a great time to be booking things in. It's always worthwhile getting it done now. Hopefully arable farmers less busy now. Now is maybe a good time to take some of the samples, particularly for stubble ground. Easy and quick to sample in those conditions. So yeah, absolutely get them booked in, because the end of the year will come before we know it.
And the important thing here to reiterate, is by 2028, all Region 1 fields that receive fertiliser need to have a soil sample. So if you've maybe not been in the way of sampling fields, even some of the grass fields, on your farm, the smaller grass fields that are maybe always in grass, it's worth sampling them. Get it done and hopefully you're able to claim it back.
Yeah, absolutely. My understanding that's a 5-year rolling time frame as well for getting the whole farm sampled. So it might be that some of your samples are coming up towards 5 years old now. Maybe get them redone while the grant's still there if you can, and make the most of that, because you're going to have to do them again in a few years anyway. So it depends on timescales, and I think some people might choose to have their whole farm done in one go and have a big investment and then not do it again for 5 years. But a lot of people might have it on a rolling scheme where they maybe do a fifth of the farm a year, which might be more financially suitable to their business. It kind of depends, but it's worth keeping an eye, as you say, George, to make sure that by 2028 you've got the whole farm done for the Region 1 ground requirements.
Yes, yeah. And with PSF going for 2025, it could be worth having a look to see when your carbon audit was last done.
Yeah, that's the same sort of rule for that one, George. You're going to need one by the end of 2028 for the whole farm plan as part of the basic payment. And again, it will need to be updated every 5 years. So it could be that you maybe had one done perhaps for the beef efficiency scheme. So that's probably more than 5 years old now. The grant is there to get it redone under PSF if you'd like, to make use of that grant while it's there, and then that's you covered for another 5 years. So now's a good time to be thinking about that, because again, it's no use phoning your consultant in December hoping to get it fitted in before the end of the year, because chances are we'll have a big list of them to do.
Yeah, and even I think you can even get it done if your last funded one was 3 years ago.
I think
right.
that's right enough.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you can also get another one done, I think, if there's been big changes to your business in the interim. So it's worth checking it out. And again, with a whole farm plan, if there is the opportunity to update your carbon audit, that gives you another 5 years, essentially, for the whole farm plan and going into the future.
Yeah. And it might be that you've got the other elements of the whole farm plan in place and you decide to wait and do the carbon audit last, in 2028, which is fine, but it's possible that there won't be any funding at that point to do it. So that's maybe a bit of a risk, but you might have the other elements for now and think, well, we'll just leave it for now. So it's, each business has to decide which elements they want to go for. But when the funding's there, I think it's a good opportunity to look at it.
Yeah. And one of the other elements of preparing for sustainable farming is the animal health and welfare interventions, which probably doesn't get a huge uptake. I don't seem to think so anyway when I'm dealing with people. It's just a wee bit under the radar, but it's quite a good wee way of maybe involving a vet in your business and having a wee look at one or two things in your livestock.
Yeah, I think if you're already doing an animal health and welfare plan with your vet, that often flags up, minor issues that you might want to address for the coming year. And it's worth having a look through the list. There's quite a list of options on the website, on the Rural Payments website, to have a look through and discuss with your vet which ones you think are the best for your business. And there you can get 2 of those per year, and they're £250 each for each of the options. And as well as that, there's a £250, I'm going to call it self-development fund. I can't remember the exact wording that they use on the Rural Payments website. But if it's your first time claiming the animal health and welfare grant, then there's that £250 self-development fund. And the idea behind that is that it gives you time to chat through with your vet, either before you do the tests and or after, any discussions of actions that you might want to take. So that is another good one. And I think you're right, George, not one that many people seem to be taking up certainly as readily as the other options. So it's worth having a look at that and see if it fits in with your business.
Yeah, I've a number of clients that have now done. They've done it every year they could, and they just do it, and they seem to be getting something from it. And it is that opportunity just to have a sit down with your vet really and discuss things, and it can be quite valuable. That, and I think quite often when you speak to a vet, they always tell you that it's quite awkward having a conversation with a client when you've got a hand up a cow or something like that. But if you go inside and a cup of tea, because they know your stock, and they also know what you're like, your stock as well. And it is a good way of maybe just dipping a toes in the water and looking at one or two wee areas for improvement.
Absolutely. And that's obviously going to have a knock-on benefit for overall herd or flock health, and potentially carbon footprint as well, if you're able to reduce some of the issues that you might be having and even if you're not having any specific issues, that you've not identified anything, some of the testing options that are available just helps reduce medicine use, which might help reduce costs as well overall.
Mm-hmm. And also, just a couple of wee reminders, a couple of ongoing schemes. The beef calf scheme is, the window's open all year, of course, but it is just a wee reminder for folk to make their claims. This year's claim window closes on the 31st of December, but there's no limit to how many claims you can make. The danger is that you just let it go and go and go, and you get to the end of the year, and for whatever reason, you forget. And that means it's the following year, 2027, before you'd be paid for those calves. So it is important that you remember to get your claims in, and it can be quite decent just to even get a claim in early, claim what you can, and then put a later claim in, and for the, if you've got some autumn calvers that are just not quite eligible yet.
Yeah, because it can be a decent amount of money for some businesses with big herds. So it's not worth taking the risk and missing the opportunity to claim it this year for sure.
Yeah. And also the Sheep Upland Support Scheme, the window's open there. The deadline on it is the 30th of November. Once again, there's no limit to the number of claims. But again, please remember to get that claim in, because again, we're by the time this goes out, we're halfway through the claim window. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Rural Roundup. We'll see you back here on the 19th of November with our next episode. This episode was hosted by George Chalmers and Mary-Jane Lawrie, featured our guest Gilmour Lawrie, and was produced by George Gawley and edited by Cameron Waugh.
The Farm Advisory Service Podcast. Audio advice on livestock, crops and soils, environment, rural business, and more. Brought to you in association with the Scottish Government.